All right, you guys, continuing our talk on self-love. This is the answers that I'm giving. There's several part answers. Like I said, when it comes to self-love, a lot of people don't answer these questions. A lot of people aren't willing to go as far as what it takes. And some people get stuck somewhere in between because they can't understand how what they're doing changes what they're seeing outside. Okay? So first and foremost, to continue this talk, you know about self-acceptance, you know about forgiveness, you know about having a direction. Okay, you know about all of these things. Now, all of that is tied into being your authentic self. And so I want to give you a little story about this. And so the reason it's so important, okay? Being yourself is the most important part of the equation, okay? It's the part of you that doesn't hold back because they're afraid, the part of you that speaks their mind, the part of you that voices their needs, the part of you that is simply you, okay? And what happens with this essence, right? Is that a lot of times in relationships we tend to stifle our voice so as not to make waves and in essence shut down who we are, and that's not going to help. It never will. Okay. So I guess what I'm trying to say is here is in relationships in general, when it comes to self-love and how important this is, I'll tell you that at first it's gonna feel as if maybe because you're not afraid to make waves, you're not afraid to be yourself, you're not afraid to speak your mind, you know, maybe you don't fit in, okay, initially, all right, and maybe that's a good thing. That's a good thing. You see, because there are two types of people in this world, okay? They're I'll give you an example, right? The fashion setters, the ones that have no authority. It doesn't matter what the universe at large is wearing, they're going to do their thing and start new trends, okay? Their authenticity comes out through their fashion. Yeah? That's an example, okay? And they're the ones that follow the trends, that follow the magazines, that read what other people are doing. Those are the followers. Okay? You have to decide which one you're going to be in everything. Always. Okay? And it doesn't have to be fashion, okay? But it does apply to your life. It applies to your life big time. Okay? And I say this because I've always been outspoken. I've always been myself. I've never censored myself. I have certain advantages that most people don't realize are advantages, and that is that I kind of had to parent myself. I had a lot of help, but other people's opinions really never had any kind of weight or validity on me. Never. People came to me for advice. This is how it's been my entire life, okay? However, as I started developing, growing as a person and learning new things and taking things to new frontiers, I was considered out of place and out of time. Okay? So, for example, I initially, when I started learning about finance and money and things like that, people started appearing that had their own businesses. So I joined a network marketing thing and I was like, sure, I'll try this, you know, hey, why not, right? And as a result, you meet different people. And one of the people that I met, they would be considered the way up line in a network marketing, for those of you that are familiar with something like that. And she basically wrote me off. She's like, she's a little weird. I don't really know about her. But she kept watching me. Because she might have felt that way initially, but there was something about how I was so unapologetically me that years later she comes up to me and she said, hey, this is going to sound kind of weird, but I want to be honest with you about something. I initially thought you were a little out there, but then I started getting coached, and it turns out that you and my coach sound exactly the same thing. And I think you should come out and hang out with us. Suddenly, my authenticity became an attraction factor. And I suddenly fit in with the same people that were rejecting me. Why? Because my 3D caught up with who I was. Okay? Another thing, in my relationships, okay? The reason that 100% when people are asked why her, and this is a question that is asked of people that I date, what's so special about her? Why are you so gaga about her? What the hell? I've never seen you like this. That's the one? Whatever the case may be, people are asked that question often. And their answer is always consistent, no matter who it is. Because she's unapologetically herself, and that's hot. She doesn't care whether you believe something or not. A lot of times, she just says it anyway. She considers it dropping seeds, and if you consider her to be crazy, more power to you. Okay? Sooner or later, it comes back. And I know that. I know that. Okay? So being unapologetically you is an important part of the equation, because you don't want a false relationship. You want a relationship based on the fact that someone loves you for you. When you want to be in a relationship, you want more than anything to be seen, to be felt, to be accepted, not to want to be changed into somebody else's ideal, but to be accepted for who you are. You don't want to censor yourself. If something bothers you, you want the courage to say it, not to censor yourself and not say it. You see, it's absolute freedom that I look for in love. Now, I don't know about other people, but that I look for in love and that I mirror back. Okay? So how do I know that a relationship's not going to go anywhere with me? Like personally, like if I'm in a situation, I have to assess, is this going to work or is this not going to work? First things first, if you're trying to change me, censor me, or I'm unable to express myself, we're over. We're over. I'm not going to conform to be anything. This is about the relationship with me. And I've struggled to discover who I am. I've struggled to appreciate the experiences that cause me the most pain. I've turned those painful experiences into money. I have turned that into wisdom. I appreciate everything I am. So why should I censor myself for a relationship? So that's a boundary. I don't know what your boundaries are. That's a boundary for me, because I love the fact that I can be me in relationships, in everything, okay? My best friend and I, right? He he was drawn to me because I was different, right? We became a couple after years of being best friends, but he was drawn to me because I was just unapologetically me. And a lot of people are afraid to do that. You're afraid, and I get that, but here's what I want to say. When it comes to self-love, fear and love don't mix, they don't belong, okay? Fear is a place that will take you to a defensive stance, a non-loving stance, things that don't work, okay? Being yourself is an important part of the equation, okay? If you can't express yourself, have an argument, come back, or you feel censored, or you feel personally attacked, or you feel as if someone's trying to change you and you don't want to. It's one thing if you want to. It's one thing if this person encouraged you to be a better person. Take advantage of that, right? But it's a whole nother thing, right, to want a relationship so bad that you censor who you are and sacrifice yourself in order to keep that. See, the problem with that is that it's a recipe for resentment and anger, and that resentment and anger builds up, and eventually it comes out in explosive ways, and it's going to lead to a disastrous relationship anyway. You know, cause and effect, you guys, you know? So this is an important part of the recipe. Being yourself and having the courage to be that, to be uncensored, to be able to speak that way, to not feel as if you're going to lose someone. These things are, I don't know, 100% the most important part. Because honestly, when you're looking for someone to love you, you just want to be seen and accepted for everything you are. You don't want to put up a pretense. You probably don't want to do all these things. You want to enjoy being you and being celebrated for being you. And you want to grow as people. And everyone's got to grow. Everyone has to grow, okay? But in this process, the more accepting you are of yourself, the more accepting the 3D becomes. And that's not initially true. Like I said, I gave you examples of my life, right? I gave you examples of how that happens, but it always comes back around. It always comes back around. And if you want to be the type of woman that always hears consistently from other people why you, because you're unique, because you're special, because you're different, because you're not afraid to be you, that's hot. That's really sexy. It is. It's a really endearing quality. And I've come to appreciate that for what it is, and I understand it, because see, when you're doing that, you can appreciate other people that do that, and you bond with people that do that, and then you grow from a healthy place. But if you're not, and you're censoring yourself, then you're limiting yourself, and that person isn't helping you grow. So, be yourself. Be yourself always. Become aware of the things that make you you. Appreciate all these experiences. Know that the only reason you are attracted to another body, male or female, I don't care what your orientation is, okay, is because their experiences are going to lead you to growth. Okay? You decide whether that's positive or negative. You decide. But in being yourself, you are allowing others to love you for who you are, and it's really, really important. It's really important. It's an important part of the process. All right, you guys, I'll continue to answer these. I'm also going to address in self-love, once you've made your list, why wouldn't it be appearing? So I've got to answer that question. And I'll keep continuing to answer how to love yourself. But I hope that this is helpful. I can only use my experience for examples, because otherwise what I'm saying would be hearsay and bullshit. Right? And so experience is knowledge. And so I can only tell you these things have helped me. I hope that they help you. I hope that you guys learn to really, truly appreciate and embrace what that means, and how being unapologetically you is a good thing, and how eventually you get known as a trendsetter. At first, we may be called crazy, okay? At first. But that's true of what? Da Vinci? Newton? And anyone else who dared to defy what we thought was real in the moment. Yeah? Okay. All right, you guys. So please take that into account. Please think about that. Please consider not censoring yourself. If you're doing this in relationships, understand it's a recipe that's not going to work for you guys. But if you do become uncensored, and by uncensored I do not mean rude, and I do not mean to be unkind, because remember, if everything is you cannot escape the actions, the thoughts, or the treatment that you do to others. It will be done onto you. You are never not dealing with yourself. So be authentic, not rude, be kind, but definitely be you. It's a really important part of the equation. Thanks, you guys. Bye.